Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Rachel King. If you're new here, my channel is all about making clothes, finding fabrics, finding patterns and finding inspiration. So this week I'm looking at boho blouses. I'm actually knee deep in looking at the autumn winter trends and I got completely waylaid by boho blouses and I feel it's something that I've missed out on showing you. So I'm showing it to you this week, and in a week or two's time we will do a deep dive into the new autumn winter trends. So I'm going to begin with some current in-store trends. They're actually things that I've looked at and they're on Net-a-Porter. They're at the high end of the market. I always, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know I like to look at the sort of designer end of things for inspiration. So this is what these slides are really designed for. So let's just begin with a bit of inspiration from some of the top designers. Now on this first slide, you've got a couple of blouses from Isabel Marant Etoile, and they're absolutely beautifully smocked and embellished. So this is kind of high boho, I'd like to think. Absolutely stunning. And then the third garment on this slide is from Zimmermann, and it's a really beautiful shape, a full voluminous gauged blouse, full boho styling, but it's a placement print with the print sitting around the top of the garment, which I think is absolutely lovely. You'll excuse me if I look distracted. I'm looking at my screen because the slides are on the screen. The second slide are boho shape blouses, tops, but they're simplified. So if you just wanted to go for the boho shape and you wanted to make them in a plain voile or a plain crepe, fine. Or you could choose a print or a lace or an embellished fabric to make them look more interesting. But this first one, this blue blouse, is from Lulu, which is just a really simple blouse shape, but I like this. It's got the gauging detail and the stand collar. And then the top from Joseph, a short sleeve shell top again, and it's gauged. Two sort of quite easy pieces with a sort of a nod to the boho trend, which you could take as far as you wanted depending on the fabrication that you choose, I guess. Then, excuse me, I'm looking at my screen here. Okay, so then I have another slide here with, I think they're kind of like classic boho shapes really, and most of them have got, if not all of them, they've got tie collars, with this, the first one being a sort of voluminous shape from Balenciaga with the full sleeves and the full sort of easy silhouette. The second one here from Chloe, you couldn't not have a Chloe blouse because Chloe and blouses are kind of synonymous. Beautiful with the gauging at the shoulders, easy shape, tie neck, and then the Yves Saint Laurent version, which is a kind of a leaner version. But again, that would work beautifully in a boho print, a sort of a paisley print. It would look absolutely stunning if you want a nod to the trend. And then below here, Dolce & Gabbana. I know it's a polka dot, but again, I think it's very much got that sort of boho silhouette to it. And then there's a lovely, more of a slim fitting blouse from Etro. Lovely print, and this time it's got a tie front but with a v-neck, which I particularly liked. And then I just wanted to talk about surface pattern. You could choose a very simple shape and really just introduce the trend with print. So this slide here, it's got 3 blouses on it. All 3 I think are absolutely beautiful. The prints are cleverly used in sort of, it's the way they're placed basically. So this first garment from Farm Rio, it's actually, I think it's a quilted cotton jacket, but it could so easily, that shape could so easily work as a blouse. And they've really cleverly, I mean, Farm Rio and prints, I mean, their range is just beautiful. If you're in Liberty in London, or you go to a store and get a chance to see their range, do, because it's a masterclass in print. So you've got this border around the hem and down the front placket, and then around the shoulders and down the center of the sleeve, which makes it really interesting. And then this next blouse, which I think, yes, it's Erdem, and they've used a border print, but they've used it around the hem of the garment, around the hem of the sleeve, interesting placement around the cuffs, and also around the neck, falling down the front of the blouse. And then the third printed blouse. That is very much a boho shape, I know, but it's just interesting the way that they've used that linear section of the print. And I think the section of the print that's running down either side of the centre front placket, I think they've also cut the sleeve so it goes around the sleeve. So as long as your grain's okay, you can play around with prints like that. And I think that's quite an interesting way of introducing the trend, if I'm hopefully making sense there. And then lastly, I found some beautiful, beautiful lace pieces. These two from Self Portrait and Rabanne. Not the simplest shapes, not the most complicated. They've got a bit of gauging, and they've used the sort of scallopage of the lace for the sleeve cuff. You could introduce the lace into a very, very simple shape. And give it that boho feel. So those were just a few slides that I wanted to kick off with, just to give you a bit of inspiration for this sort of whole boho story. And now I'm going to talk about the 9 patterns that I found. I'm just getting them up on my screen so I can make sense of them when I talk about them. They are, apart from the 2 at the end, these are all PDF downloadable patterns, and I'll give you the size ranges as well. They're all very inclusive size ranges, and I'll try and talk about the details on the blouses as well. First one, the Liza blouse from Vicky Sews. I think this is absolutely beautiful. It's got this wide front placket, it's got front and back yoke with gauging onto it, and this full sleeve with a lovely deep cuff. And the other lovely thing about this blouse is it's got rouleau fastenings. Not so difficult to do if you've got a rouleau loop maker, which is, I've got one here. You can make rouleau loops, not so hard. In fact, sometimes I think it's easier than making buttonholes. You know, buttonholes, I have to make them on my domestic machine. Well, actually, I choose to get a local mending service that's got a professional buttonhole machine to make them. But rouleau loops, not so scary. Yeah, they're on the front placket, on this wide front placket, and also on the cuffs, which I think is a really beautiful detail. So that's the Vicky Sews Liza blouse, sizes 6 to 20. The next one also from Vicky Sews, and this is the Edvig, I'm going to say Edvig, blouse. Again, it's got a rouleau detail on it, which comes all the way down the centre front, and I believe on the cuffs. Lovely. It's got a V-neck this time. It's got a slide, say that's a slight drop shoulder, very full, clean sleeve head, but very full sleeve into the cuff, and again a really nice deep cuff. I can see that in a foil, I can see that in a printed crepe de chine. Yeah, so it's a really beautiful shape again from Vicky Sews. The third one is from Fibre Mood. In fact, I've got 2 from Fibre Mood. I thought this was particularly pretty. I know it's in a stripe, but depending on the print or plane you use, could be very boho. And it's got this very interesting ruffle detail which goes all the way from the front and around the back yoke. A nice simple button through centre front opening with just a stand collar and a very simple cuff detail. So it's kind of all about that ruffle detail really, isn't it? And I think quite clever the way that it continues around the back yoke. And you could use contrasting prints or slightly different colours. You know, there are all sorts of different things you could do with it. I mean, you could even use a lace panel at the front. Yeah, I think that, you know, there's lots of sort of interesting options around that style actually, although it looks, apart from the ruffle, it looks deceptively simple. Okay, another one from Fibre Mood. This is the, the previous one was called the Paulette blouse from Fibre Mood. This is the Lulu blouse from Fibre Mood. Again, PDFs UK 6 to 26 sizes for both of these Fibre Mood patterns. This has got a stand collar with one of those dropped centre fronts, so it's sort of like a V-neck, and then it's a button through, and it's got these slightly set-in sleeves and massive sleeves going into just a regular cuff. I think this is a beautiful silhouette. So something with like maybe a cotton print with a little bit of body to it. I think this could look really, really quite stunning. Again, so from Fibre Mood, the Lulu blouse. And moving on to the next one is from Pattern Scout, and this is the poppy blouse, and there are a couple of variations in this blouse. So you've got this gathered detail, this at the collar, and a tie, and it's a tunic blouse. So you've got this V-neck at the front, so it's basically going to go over your head, and it's got, I would say that's a 1/2 to 3/4 sleeve, and it's got a nice bound cuff, so you're gauging into a bound cuff detail. So centre front seam, raglan shoulder, and also there is an option to do a ruffle panel hem, as you can see in the line drawings here. So again, as I was saying with the, I think one of the previous blouses, you could use contrasting prints for the sleeves, for the centre front panel, for the hem, for the collar, for the tie. There are all sorts of things that you could do there. Okay, moving on to the next style, and this is from Anna Allen, and it's the Anthea blouse. It's quite a simple looking shape, really, quite a sort of full-bodied blouse, big sleeves, simple round neck, simple button through, and I think this is actually, let me just check with my notes, I think this is also available as a dress, but I haven't included it in the line drawings because I like to have my line drawings nice and big so you can see them, and if I included the dress you won't be able to see them. I think it's available as a dress, and it might be belted. Yeah, so round collar, button through, half sleeve, massively gathered sleeve, and it's a really nice full and easy silhouette there. Okay, moving on to, this is a really simple one, but I love it. This is from Wardrobe by Me, and it's their Moira blouse, and they've actually got a longer version of this, which is the dress version. So it's just a really simple tunic with got a binding around the neck, so it's a nice wide neckline, quite elegant, and you've got what it looks like a half sleeve and a full length sleeve, and the sleeve cuffs are just elasticated, so that's a simpler option if you don't want to do a tricky binding. And then also there's a version with a ruffle hem too, so I thought that was a particularly nice simple style, which has got a nod to boho, but it's not too extreme. You could do it in a plain voile, you could do it in a print. It'd be nice in a silk crepe sheen, actually, something that really drapes. Could be day, evening, quite a versatile one. I like that one. In fact, I might even make it myself. Okay, so moving on to, I need to move my screen up on my computer. I'm really sorry about this, bear with me. Okay, so the last two, but not least, are actually from Liberty Patterns. These are both paper patterns, they're not PDFs, and they are in, the first one is a Liberty Thea boho sleeve shirt. They call it a shirt, but I think it's more of a blouse personally, and it's in sizes 4 to 20. Again, it's a paper pattern. And they've got 5 versions, including a short sleeve version, which I haven't shown you here because I didn't think it looked quite so boho. So they have 2 collars. They've got a stone collar and a shirt collar. And they've got pretty much 2 sleeve variations. So they've got like a satin regular sleeve with this double circular cuff detail. And they give you an option to add a frill onto the bottom of that double cuff, and you can also add a frill onto the shirt collar to go with it. But as most of you know, with patterns you can sort of chop and change all of these details to a degree. And then the version that I really like, which is the one that's illustrated in the photograph here, has got this dropped, it's not a drop shoulder, so there's a seam at the very top of the sleeve, and the gathers go from there. Really exaggerated into a sort of a conventional cuff, and the version in the photograph's got a stone collar, and it's got a concealed placket as well. and I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And they've made it in here in what I assume is a Liberty Tana Lawn, Liberty print. Absolutely stunning, particularly love that. And then last but not least is a really lovely simple take on the boho theme from Liberty Patterns, and this is the Liberty Esther tunic, and they've got a couple of variations here, and they've got 4 sleeve variations. So you've got just a conventional wide sleeve, then you've got a seamed sleeve, if you can see in the line drawings, with a gathered cuff, and then, I'm sorry, I need to look at my line drawings again here, and then you have got a version with a frill around the sleeve hem, and they've also give you an option to put a frill around the actual hem of the tunic. And the centre front opening can be just either open or it can have a tie. Obviously they've made it here in a Liberty Tana Lawn print. I think it's a really versatile shape, an everyday piece, or you could do it in a more interesting glitzy fabric, and it could be a nice evening piece actually, sort of standalone, going out in the evening top, depending on the fabrication. So those are my sort of suggestions for boho blouses. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I love to hear your comments and I love your feedback. Please let us know if you've made any of those blouses and how they worked out for you. Have you made a boho blouse style in another pattern that I haven't talked about, which you particularly loved? Please share that too. The other thing I was looking for, at the very beginning, I showed you a couple of, there's a pink smocked blouse from Isabel Miranda 12, and I was really trying to find a contemporary pattern for a smocked blouse that I liked. I found lots of quite old ones, but I wasn't so keen on them, and I only show you things that I really like. That's always my starting point. If I don't like it, I won't show it. If anybody out there knows of a contemporary smocked blouse pattern, please put it in the comments, because I really wanted to find one to show you. So if somebody is aware of one, please share it with us all. That would be really interesting. So anyway, as this vlog goes out on the Sunday, I will be somewhere in the Mediterranean, floating around Croatia somewhere. If you watch my videos regularly, you'll know that I'm in the middle of doing my day skipper qualification for sailing, and I've done the theory, which I passed a few months ago, and I've got to do the practical, which is boat handling, and that's what I'm doing this week in Croatia. So as you watch this, I will be floating around the Med somewhere, trying to get to grips with a very large boat, which will be interesting. So because of that, there may well not be a video next week. It depends how things go, but there will definitely be one the following week, and I'll tag a bit on the end. I'm not going to do a whole video about sailing because this is not a sailing channel, but I know some of you follow me and you might like to know what happens, and I'll show you a bit of the scenery. So if all else fails, I'll show you a bit of Croatia. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. That's what's happening. So I will see you soon. Please like, subscribe and share, and yeah, see you in a few weeks time. Bye.